guys, it's Jessica from Lemon and Lime Craft Company. I'm going to be showing you guys how we're making this really cute fall mesh wreath. This was a wreath that we did for one of our wreath workshops here at the shop. So I'm putting a few kits together so you guys can watch at home and learn how to make this yourself. It's a pretty straightforward wreath. We've got some mesh we're going to use, fillers of course, a little bit of ribbon around the edges. If you buy one of our kits, I do make your bows ahead of time. And then we have our little Scarecrow guy here too. I think everything here was from Hobby Lobby except for the ribbons. So ribbons I usually get from Craft Outlet. I believe everything here is from Craft Outlet. But the sunflower, the Scarecrow, the mesh, everything else is from Hobby Lobby. So if they still have it in stock, you might be able to find everything. But so I'm just going to show you what we'll be working with here. We're going to use our wire frame here. It's 14-inch. It's a 4-wire frame. 3 wires, perfectly fine too. We're using 2 different kinds of mesh. Again, these are both a Hobby Lobby. They're jute, and it's kind of like mustardy color. Was in their fall section. So by themselves, they're just a little bit thin, on their own. So I'm just doubling up, so it makes it, a really nice full base. And I'm actually really happy with how it came out. So we're going to use those, and then just our florals that we're using. We're using these little red Eucalyptus stems here. We have these cute little corn and Raffia picks here. You can kind of pull these out. So we've got 2 of those here. And we've got these little eucalyptus ones. They're kind of like nice fall colored. We're actually going to split these up so there's 3 little stems in here. So we're going to actually kind of pull these apart and just kind of shove them in, where we see fit, kind of. So we've got a couple of those. And then we have our sunflower pick. And that's what we're going to use right here on top of our bow. So normally I like to use a sign for these mesh wreaths like that, where I have like a little accent and a bow, but he's already holding a little sign. It says Happy Fall. So I didn't want another sign in there, so that's why we kind of opted for this really big sunflower. Kind of sticks out, kind of complements him. It's not too big, it's not too small, but it's bigger than everything else. Your flowers is more of like a statement flower. So we got one of those in there too. And then of course we have our ribbons. We're using this plaid 2.5 inch. It's actually double-sided, so it's like the mustard color on the back, and it also has that in the stitching. And then just this solid 1.5 faux burlap black. So we just kind of alternate with that around our edges. And then of course we have our little Scarecrow guy. See, it says Happy Fall. Oh, he's got hair in his face. But yeah, he's got cute little legs. So we'll just toss him in there too. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut mesh, and I'll show you how we will go about that. Alright guys, so I started with our wreath frame here. So what I've done is, if you have our kits, you'll have like 18 pipe cleaners, and that's what we're gonna put on our frame here. So you would start by, we're going to do 10 ties around the outside ring and then 8 along the inside ring. So that's just what I've done here, is just kind of as evenly spaced as you can. You're just going to kind of wrap a pipe cleaner around the outside 2 rings. And you'll go 10 times. So just kind of as evenly as you can to make 10 around the outside edge. And then you'll do the same thing on the inside ring, on these inside 2 rings. Just wrap that around and twist kind of down as tight as you can, and you're going to do that 8 times along the inner rings. So you should have 18 ties all together. So you have should have like 19 pipe cleaners all together. One is just for your hanger in the back at the end, but the 18 will be for this. So your wreath will look something like this, kind of crazy looking at the start of everything. So I went ahead and did that also, and then for our mesh, we're cutting that, like I said, if you get a kit, these will already come cut, but your mesh looks like this. And we just cut 18 pieces of each at 20 inches. So what we do is just kind of measure out 20 inches on our mat here, take your little rotary cutter, and you'll cut it till it makes a strip 20 inches long. And you'll do that for the entirety of your roll, and you should come out with 18 even pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here quick, and then I'll show you how we attach. Okay, so I've got all my mesh cut. Again, we did both rolls, 20 inches, 18 cuts. So you're going to end up with all these little rolls. Again, this will already be cut for you if you get the kits. So what we're going to do though, we're going to put one of each of these, one mustard color, one natural color, in the same tie. So what you're going to do is take the mesh where your curls are kind of facing outward, I guess. So I feel like it's easy if you just kind of let it curl on the outside, like if you hold it up against your chest, like just kind of let it curl, like as it wants to. It's going to kind of want to curl. So you kind of just let it curl a little bit till you get, you know, a few inches apart, and then you're just going to kind of walk your fingers in the middle, and then it's going to make what we call a cruffle. So it's kind of curled on the edge, but it's got this little ruffled part too. So it's kind of in between a curl and a ruffle, so we call it a cruffle. So it's going to look something like that. And then what you're going to do, like I said, we're going to do one of each. So I'm going to kind of hold this in my hand. If you have like a hair clip or chip clip even, you know, go ahead and pop that on. It'll just hold it for you. I'm just going to kind of hold it in my other hand. But you're just going to take another piece then, do the same thing. Just kind of let it curl on the ends, and then just kind of walk it in the middle. Like that. Again, it doesn't have to be like these pieces towards the end of the roll of mesh are going to be a little tighter than the ones on the outside, but that's fine. You're not gonna notice once you get everything all said and done. But you're gonna end up with your two pieces here, and then you're just gonna kind of layer them together like that, pinched in the middle for both. And it doesn't necessarily matter which one's on top, which one's on bottom. It doesn't matter. So what you're just going to do then is just kind of pinch down as much as you can, and then you're gonna take one of your, I usually work on the outside ring first, but you kind of want to split your pipe cleaner to where it's like up and down like that. That's kind of hard to see probably. Kind of up and down, because you're gonna put your mesh in horizontally, like kind of like that. So I'll put these in here and I can show you. You're just going to stick the center right down into the center of the tie and cross over, and then give it a few nice twists and make sure it's nice and tight. So you kind of want it to look like that along the outside of your ring. So like you want it kind of going horizontally instead of vertically. I'm going to place that mesh horizontally and just where your rolls are kind of facing outward. And then you're just going to do that through every tie on the outside. And then once you're through with the outside, you'll just do the same thing to the inside. So I'm going to film doing this. I'll probably speed it up for you so you don't have to watch the entire process. But that's what you'll do. So again, you're just going to take one piece of each, let it curl, and then you just kind of walk it in the center, and then you just kind of push them together like that, stick them down in a tie. Just kind of get it down nice and tight. And you end up, and they're gonna smush together a little bit, but that's what you want. So it creates like a nice full base when you're nice and finished. So just keep doing that all the way around the outside, and then move towards the inside. Again, just do the same thing. Alright, so I've got my outer ring done. This is kind of what she looks like. So what you want to do once you've got these in kind of horizontally, just kind of pull everything out towards the outside. Like kind of pull from the centers, just kind of like pull your mesh towards the outside. It's just going to kind of give it that nice ruffle, and you're not stuck with a bunch of stuff in the back here, like folded over or anything like that. So just kind of give everything a nice pull kind of outward. And that'll help everything kind of layer nicely on the inner ring too. So I'm going to start with that. Alright guys, so we've got our full base now, see? Looks nice and full. Nice and balanced. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to do our ribbon tails around the outside edge. So what we're doing, since we have 10 ties around the outside with mesh, we're going to alternate with the 2.5 inch to the 1.5 inch, just every other tie. So plaid every other one, and then the black and the rest. So what you want to do is, so these are cut at 12 inches, again if you're using one of our kits. So the easy way just to find the middle is just kind of bend them in half. You'll find that center point, and you're just going to kind of pinch together like that. And then what you'll do is we're going to keep the plaid side out. So you're just going to find a tie. So I would probably, I think I did the plaid ones in, or yeah, never mind. I was about to say, I thought we were alternating meshes, but we're not. They're in every single one, so it doesn't matter. So just pick an outside tie. You'll just kind of open up the pipe cleaner. You don't have to like untwist it from the mesh. You're just going to lay this kind of right on top. So you're just going to stick your center of your ribbon here, right in that center of the pipe cleaner. And then you're just going to, again, twist over top of it. Give a nice twist, and then twist, you know, a couple times, 2 or 3 times. And then you're going to kind of pull the tails towards the outside of your wreath like that. So this should be sticking out and pointing out toward the outside of the wreath. And again, you'll just go into the next one. You're going to do the same thing, but with the 1.5 inch black. Again, you can just kind of bend it in half to find your center. Give it a little pinch there in the middle. And then stick that right in that pipe cleaner and twist over top. And again, you just want to pull the tails out towards the outside. And again, just right on to the next one. You'll go back in with the plaid. Find your halfway and pinch. Go right into that tie and twist. And again, there's going to be a little overlapping, but that's what you want. So again, it'll start to look like that. And you're just going to repeat that all on the outside ties. So every single one should have some ribbon in it. Just pull those tails to the outside. just make sure you're kind of getting, you know, as close down to the bottom of that pipe cleaner as you can. So you want your ribbons to stick out, but you don't want them so far out where it, you know, just looks a little funky. So you want to be able to have them just poking out, but not be able to really see where things are tied down to. So just make sure you're down deep enough. And again, it's just in the outside ring. We're not doing anything with the inside ring. This is just outside. What you can do too is just kind of pull that inner ring of mesh down over your ribbons, like once you've kind of made some room and got your ribbon tails in there, you know, just maybe pull down a little bit on your inner ring of mesh over that, so that way, you know, it kind of hides everything. Last ones. Alright, kind of want the ribbon sitting on the outer ring of mesh, and then that inner ring of mesh kind of sitting on top of that. So that's what she should look like when you're done with that process. So building that nice base, and then we're going to go in with our center things here too, our Scarecrow. We're going to attach the bow and go ahead and get our sunflower in, and then we'll just finish with the rest of these guys at the end. So grab a bow. Oh, I don't use this bow. So this is just the 2.5 inch that we're using. I've got this kind of matching mustard colored 1.5 inch with the little stitch squares, and then I've got this just black solid 7/8, and I usually like to make these guys a little bit longer than these tails. You can kind of see on this one, like I dovetail the 2.5 and the 1.5. The 1.5 I usually cut a little bit shorter than the 2.5, just kind of get that extra little peak at the bottom. And then these guys, I like to, the 7/8 inch ribbon, I like to kind of curl. So that I make it, you know, I leave it a little bit longer so that way you guys can curl it. And I can show you how to do that here at the end. But I'm going to go ahead and I think attach my bow first, and then we'll do Scarecrow, and then we'll do sunflower. So as you can see, like on this one, so I've kind of got it in this lower, you know, lower left corner. The bows, again, in the kits are going to have the pipe cleaners attached here, and what you're going to kind of want to do, we're going to look for the inner ring there on the inside. So I'm going to find a spot here where I can kind of spread some mesh around, because we kind of want it as much towards the inside as we can. So we want to go for that inner ring. So I think I'm just going to try to spread the mesh apart a little bit, just to where I can see a little gap. And I'm just going to thread the pipe cleaner on one side of the innermost wire, and then obviously just put the other side on that other side and give it a few twists. So I went to the most inner ring or inner, you know, wire here, and I twisted around that. That way I could try to get it as far towards the middle, you know, that I can. And then we're just gonna kind of fluff out a little bit. Make sure they're all pulled down. So kind of want it, yeah, like right there, kind of like that bottom left. Look, so our sunflower goes here, right above, and then our scarecrow is going to go on the opposite side. Alright, so I've got that attached. And this is probably the trickiest part, guys, is just trying to get pipe cleaners in there and you know, because your mesh is so full. So don't get, you know, frustrated. It's a process. Just trust the process and you'll get it. The more you do this stuff, the easier that becomes. Not to say it's not a pain every time, but you know, it does get a little easier. I'm just gonna take my tags off. He's got a little tag on him too, so I'm just gonna snip that off because we don't need that. Okay. And so what I'm gonna do with him, I'm actually gonna take some floral wire. I think this is 23 gauge. And again, if you buy kits, I'll already have this in for you. But we're just gonna take a little bit here. I'm gonna give myself a little more than what I think I need. This is a pretty generous piece, but so what I'm gonna do to attach him, so he's got a nice little weighted bottom, but up here is just kind of all stuffing. So what I'm gonna do is kind of poke this stiff wire kind of through him. Well, I say that's what I'm gonna do. There it goes. Oh, it came back out. And I'm just gonna kind of feel for where it comes back out at. Oh, I feel it. Again, this will already be done for you, so I probably should have did this already instead of videotaping. I might have to speed this up until I can get the other part through. It's kind of being stubborn. It keeps bending on me. Oh, I see. This went so smoothly and the rest of the ones I did. I'll speed through this process, but there it comes. Oh, it was coming. Okay, there we go. My goodness. It took way longer than it should have. So anyway, so we've just threaded some wire back here. I'm just going to kind of twist it off a little bit. So it looks like that. And then we're just going to wire him onto the frame as well. So we're just going to kind of pick the spot where I kind of want him to sit. Again, we're probably going to look to that, maybe not the most inner wire, but the next one, just to kind of keep them not too far inward. Probably gonna go in, just kind of look for a break in the mesh, or if you can thread the wire through the mesh, that's probably fine too. I just like to try to go around it if I can help it. There we go. Kind of have to dig your way in here a little bit. I actually have like a little crossbar here that I can tie off too. That's probably best if you can find the crossbar. It'll help him, you know, keep him from moving as much. So you're just going to kind of pull him tight. Make sure you got him where you want him to sit. I'm just going to wire him off in the back. Give him a little cross-legged look. Pull some mesh out behind him if you need to. And that's what he's looking like. You kind of want him sitting kind of flush with the bow, I would say. That's like where his bottom is. And he can sit up a little higher, if need be. All right, and then we're just going to take our big sunflower, take my tag off, and then I would suggest, since this is quite a long stem, we don't need all that, I would go ahead and cut maybe like 2 inches or so off. Diagonal cutters kind of leave you a nice little stem, that way you can get some glue going and try to adhere as much as you can. So that's gonna go, you know, right above our bow here, and I would try to find where you have pipe cleaners from your mesh, somewhere where you can just kind of like slide these down through. Like you kind of want, this is all wired too, so you can kind of pull this, because you kind of want your sunflower facing kind of like flush, so you kind of just want to bend it like that, so whenever you stick it down in the mesh, it's going to face, you know, directly out towards you. So I'm just going to dab it in a little bit of glue here. So about that much. And then we're going to, let me get some of this glue off here. Of course I stuck my finger right in glue. Yeah, I'll get that off here in a minute. So I'm just gonna, like I said, kind of like glide it right down to where a pipe cleaner kind of sits. And just try to make as much contact with pipe cleaner or the mesh or even the wire frame as much as you can. You know, the more contact you make, the better your stuff will stay put, and there's not a lot of moving about, and it doesn't fall out as easily. So I just like to, I don't like to trim the pipe cleaners until I'm completely done, just because I do like to, whenever we go in with these guys, to leave the pipe cleaners attached. That way, again, the more contact you have with your picks, the better. So I'm already giving a little tug, and I can already feel like it's good to go. It's nice and stuck on there. So that's what we look like for those 3 things here. And all we've got to do now is just kind of fill in around our outsides. So what I did here was in the plaid ties here, I did one of these red eucalyptus stems. So these come as kind of two. So I'm going to take the tags off. And then this one has like a little bit of a longer stem too. So if I cut it down here, I'll have a little bit of stem to work with. So I'm going to cut that one there. And then this one, since it had this little leaf right here, I'm just going to cut this down here. Alright, so you'll have these two. And then for these guys, again, let me get rid of my tag. So these guys actually are 3 different stems. Actually, if you just bend them a little bit, they'll slide right out. Kind of wrapped in like a paper. So they do come, you know, with these little tiny pieces here on the end. So I'm just going to snip those off. So we don't need terribly much. So now you have 3 different picks instead of 1. So I felt like just using one whole one of these in the set was too much. So that's why in the black and white ties we do one of these and one of these. We're going to kind of put in those stems and then or in those ties, and then just these black solid pieces we're going to do 2 of these. The only exception is I did on the sides here, and it didn't necessarily have to be like in this one it's in the black and white tie, this one it's in the black tie. So maybe if you want to find that first, we'll take these little horn picks because we only have 2 of these. So because I like my wreaths even, I just stuck to doing these 2 on the sides. And again, these are kind of long, so you'll want to snip them. Alright, and then give them a little, fan them out a little bit. So, and if you want to kind of plan, you know, just kind of like stick them in where you think everything's going to go first, you can then just kind of go back and, you know, glue and plug everything later. But I'm one that I like to kind of see it first before I glue it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Even though I have my little prototype up here, I'm still going to, you know, just make sure I like where everything's sitting. And again, I kind of want my corn and raffia picks on the sides. Happens to work out where like kind of this black and white tie is on my left side and this black solid black is on the other side. Just kind of how I have it on here. And again, so on this side and this side. And again, we're just kind of playing with placements before we kind of lock everything in. I'm going to go ahead and deconstruct these ones too. You should have 3 of these guys, so you'll end up with 9, I believe. 1, 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Yeah. I want to make sure I was counting right. Or no, wait, 2, 4, 6. Sorry, 4 of them. You'll have 4 of these guys. Sorry. I can't count, apparently. It's been a long day. Let me grab one more of these guys. Okay. Oh, gotta sneeze. Trim these guys too. Where's these ones? Okay. Alright, so what I did then, so we have these two, and again we have 10 ties around the outside, so we're just working with the outside ties from the little corn picks. So I just put two of these little eucalyptus stems kind of together and stick them with that tie. And the next one, I'm taking one of the red eucalyptus ones and just one of these guys, and that's going to go in the plaid. And again, the next one, just two of these again. And the next one of these, and one of these. So again, I'm just kind of placing them in here so I can visualize it first, just to make sure that I don't see anything that's off or anything like that. And down here, I kind of did the same thing. I think what I'll do though, just kind of keep going with alternating down here. Do two of those, and then the red, and one of these. And then again, two of these. Kind of going up under the bow. That tie there. And then follow up with the last one. Again, one red, one of these. And then if you just kind of want to take a look, again, just make sure you got something in every tie. And then if everything looks good, some stuff might fall out, but that's kind of what she's looking like. Kind of nice and uniform throughout here. So I like the way that looks, so I'm going to go ahead and glue in everything here. I'm going to start with just one of my little corner raffia picks here. Again, just do the same thing kind of with the sunflower. Just kind of dipping my end to my glue here. A nice little healthy amount here, and I'm going to slide it in kind of at an angle. Drip here. And I'm going to slide it right on top of the pipe cleaner in that tie. And I'm just going to kind of slide it down so it pulls the glue all the way along that pipe cleaner. It's probably going to go right into the mesh. Here, that inner ring of mesh too. So again, just trying to make as much contact with stuff as possible. And then you're just gonna kind of stop when it's poking out. You know, poking out from your mesh, kind of just like that. You don't want to see the stem or anything like that. So you want it to look like it's coming right out of the mesh. Alright, and so these guys, so I'll probably just do these one at a time, instead of just trying to double up. I mean, you might be able to, but I feel like it's just easier to do. Whoop. And again, I'm just going to kind of run them along the pipe cleaner there. And I'm using a glue pot, but a glue gun works just fine. Just get the tips, you know, maybe like 1/2 inch or so to 1 inch worth of glue. Just kind of run it along that pipe cleaner at an angle where it's going to poke out from your mesh. And then you're just going to kind of keep moving on, keep going on to the next tie. Once you get to these guys, since these guys are a little bit taller, I like to do them first. So I'll go ahead and lay those in first. And that way I can lay those eucalyptus ones on top of this one. So again, just kind of pulling that glue as much as we can. And if it helps, if you're a little unsure, you know, it might help just to kind of press onto the pipe cleaner a little bit. Just make sure it stays in contact with that and it dries like that. That one felt pretty good. And I use Sure Bonder glue. I just melt glue sticks here in the glue pot. You can use them obviously in the glue gun too. I know a lot of people use Gorilla Glue, and I've heard good things about that. I've just always used Sure Bonder, and it seems to work well for me. So that's just my 2 cents. Again, as long as you're making good contact, I think that's the most important thing. And what I'll usually do at the end is just kind of give everything a little tug, you know, just to make sure nothing's freely, you know, coming out or extremely loose. You know, then I need to go back in and glue again. But like already, like these guys, I can give them a little tug and I can feel that they're not going anywhere. So that's what you want. And if you want to kind of pull your ribbon tails out again as you're going along, you can. You can also go in and snip the pipe cleaners once you're done. You're probably not going to see too many of them in the outer ring, but the inner ring, you know, you might see some since we don't have anything sitting inside those. So feel free if that bothers you to, you know, to snip them, but it's not a necessity. You can always just tuck them down in too. Just kind of push them, fold them, you know, over on themselves and just tuck them down in. You'll never see them. But some people like to snip them too, so just a preference thing. I felt like having 2 of these little stems was good, but like all 3 was just a little bit too much. And I've also got 2, this will be done for you in the kits, but I've just got to dovetail my 2 ribbons here, and then I just do like a slanted cut for the 7/8 inch. I don't bother dovetailing that one. And then I'll show you guys how we do the curls. Do this one first since it's taller. Get a little more glue there. Layer this one on top of it. And a lot of people, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, some people too, with leaving the pipe cleaners on the outer ties like this, once you're done gluing everything, if it makes you feel better about security, you can pull whatever's left of your pipe cleaners up over the stems. Just to kind of tie them down as well. If you know, you're welcome to do that too. I don't typically do that, but maybe if you had something a little heavier, you know, you could. But these are fairly light, and I'm not too worried about them going anywhere. So I think I'm fine with just kind of leaving them. So we're halfway done. We're over to this one. glue in here. If you're somebody that does a lot of wreaths, I love using like a skillet for a glue pot. Like this is just like, I don't remember what brand it is, but it's just like a kitchen skillet. So my mom and I, you know, sit here and make wreaths across from one another. So we have one big kind of table here, so we share the glue pot, and it's nice. If it's just you, you probably don't need one this big, but especially if you know you have bigger stems or bigger attachments that you're gluing in, you know, it might be helpful to have something big like that. But it's really, a glue gun is fine, or even a small glue pot. Like I started out with a Hobby Lobby little Surebonder skillet when it was just me at home. But it's nice when we have, you know, two people sitting here gluing things. We can just use one big glue pot. We're not having multiple glue guns going at the same time. My glue gun gets extremely hot too. What's nice about the skillets is, you know, you can control the temperature better. So I do like that. My glue gun gets extremely hot, and I don't use it a lot because of that. So I'm one to just stick here and use that, and only use my glue gun in certain cases. But again, if you're just the occasional crafter, a glue gun is fine. Alright, home stretch. Whoop. As I say that, and I dip my things in glue. There we go. I'm just getting a little low on glue here, so. And if you're not wanting to use glue at all, you know, it might work just to do it like what I was saying, and just use the pipe cleaners to tie things on. You know, that may work just fine too. If you get them tight enough, you know, they won't go anywhere. So that's fine too if you don't want to do the glue gun route. Yeah, I just prefer gluing. But you know, if you don't have a glue gun or don't want to use one, just use the pipe cleaners and attach things that way. So my pipe cleaners are just sticking out a little bit, so I'm going to do what I just said and just kind of like twist my pipe cleaners on top of it, on top of those stems, just to provide that little extra bit of security, and then just tuck them down into the mesh, and you'll never see them. A little bit of extra security never hurts. So pulling my tails back out a little bit. I'm actually going to take this wreath home with me as well, so it's actually going to go on my front door too. This one for sale out in our shop, but this one I'm just gonna take home. I wanted to make one for my house anyway, so I'm just kind of making the tutorial of this and taking it home later. And this one, like I said, will be for sale on our website. So lemonandlimecraftco.com is our website. Find all of our wreaths under custom handmade products. So all the wreaths that we make wreaths all year round. So you can find everything on there that we make, and then we host our workshops about once or twice a month. We'll do some here. I think I'm working on our Christmas calendar for our workshops here this weekend, so hoping I'll have those posted by the weekend. They're a lot of fun. We're almost done, guys. I think one more. Just kind of giving them a little extra hold here, just kind of really pressing them down into the pipe cleaner. Make sure I've got good contact for the glue to dry before I move on. Tug. Everything feels good. Alright, Last one. Little extra hold. Last one. And if you are watching this at home, you like what you see, or if you've used this to make your own wreath, you know, please comment, share our channel. I know we don't have very many videos on it quite yet. It's mostly just kind of like these tutorial types, but we really like doing this. So the more we can get out there and you guys share and everything, then, you know, the better things go. Alright, I think just got a couple little pipe cleaners I'm going to tuck in here. Again, you can kind of go back in and snip these with your cutters, or like I said, just kind of, as long as they're tucked in, you're not really going to see them. So it's fine just to tuck. And then, like I said, I'm going to dovetail my ribbons. So if you don't know what dovetailing is, it's kind of where I'm making this, which you probably can't see very well. What we're going to do is you just fold your ribbon kind of in half. And you're going to kind of go in, start at the outside and go towards the inside at like an upward angle. And it's going to make that. And then I do that with the 2.5 inch and the 1.5 inch like mustard colored ribbon. And you can do it from the center out, you know, as long as you are cutting the right way. Either way is fine. So that's called dovetailing. Cut both of those. I'm going to trim up these guys just a little bit. I like my 1.5 to be a little shorter than the 2.5, so there we go. It's not much, but, and then these guys, these long 7/8 inch tails, I'm just cutting these at an angle at the end. So it's just like that. I don't dovetail those. And what we're going to do, I'm hoping you guys can see this. So what you're going to do is just to get this little nice curl here, you're just going to start at the bottom and then just kind of make a fairly tight curl, like a fingers width apart. And you're just going to kind of roll like slanted, kind of like that. Not like fully on top of itself, but just like, just kind of off just a little bit. Kind of keep going so you're almost to the top where it looks like this. Like, hopefully you can see that. And then you're just going to take almost to the end and just kind of pull straight down, and it'll make like that really nice curl. Might take some practice. Ow, I have a broken nail and it keeps catching everything. You're gonna do the same thing on this side. Just gonna kind of curl up about a finger's width. Just keep curling, and then almost to the bottom, just kind of pull straight down. Just kind of let it rebound up, and you'll kind of make these really nice, like bouncy curls. And you can make them tighter, you know, if you want to, but play with it a little bit. And I think it just gives it kind of like a nice little fun extra look. And then I'm just gonna give him his little cross-legged look here. And I think we're all done. Give my bow a last little fluffing. Alright guys, we are done. There we go. Pretty darn cute. And then what I usually do at the end is just kind of put a hanger on the back. And this is what your back will look like. So if you want to snip your little wires from where you hung the Scarecrow, that's probably a good idea. Let me find my cutters. Just kind of tuck that back in. I just thread like a pipe cleaner here and kind of find the top of my wreath here how you want it to hang, and then just kind of thread this up through that outer ring. Just thread it up through, make a loop, and then you can hang it like that. I think he's kind of hanging the way I want. If you just hang him on that outer ring too, you might be able to, you know, have a little bit of leeway as far as how it hangs, and then just give it a few little twists like that. And then I usually just go ahead and pull up the loop. And there you go. And it can hang that way, it can hang that way. You know, you have a little bit of leeway between this crossbar and your first like pipe cleaner from where you attached your mesh, or that crossbar. What I also do too, typically, this is not something that I include in the kits, but it's something that I do for the wreaths I make and sell. But I put doormats, or not doormats, my gosh, I told you this guys was late. I put placemats on the back of these. So these are like 16-inch placemats from At Home, and like I said, the wreath frames are 14-inch, so they cover, you know, quite nicely. They cover everything. But I thread like a pipe cleaner. I usually cut pipe cleaners in half and just like thread them through like these little stitches, the stitching here in the back. And I just thread a pipe cleaner through and kind of wire it onto that outside ring, and then just tuck them down in. That way it kind of hides all the mechanics that you have kind of going on in the back, all your pipe cleaners, glue, stems, wire, you know, anything that necessarily you don't want to see, especially if you have like a glass door you're going to be hanging something on. You know, you don't necessarily want to see this, you know. So the placemats just give it a nice finished look. And I usually try to use like a matching color. Like I use that kind of like mustardy color. I have a black one over there I can use. You know, just something to kind of hide all that. So it's a nice like finished look. But otherwise, yeah, that's everything for this one. Turns out super cute. I'll have this tutorial posted here soon, and kits, you can always look on our website under, I think it says like bundle deals and kits or something to that effect, on our website, lemonandlimecraftco.com. Like I said, we have, I think we have a few kit options on the website, but you know, not every wreath I make do I have kits for, but when we do, I like to try to make tutorials like this, that way you guys can follow along at home and you know, see how we make it, especially if you're not able to come to a class. You know, we like to be able to offer that. So certainly, you know, let us know if you're looking for a kit. You know, these are kind of great to do with friends, you know, make a little wreath making party out of it. you know. So you can always reach out to us, lemonandlimecraftco at gmail.com is our email. So if that's something you're interested in, or if you want to do just like a wreath making party here at the shop, we'd love to do that too. So like I said, we usually do a couple classes, 1 or 2 a month here for most of the year. So you can always check our website for those classes too. We'll be working on Christmas here coming up. We're at the end of September already. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cutie home, and hopefully we'll be able to make another tutorial soon. Thanks guys. Let us know if you do make it. Let us know how it goes. Thanks.